Did you know that Queen Elizabeth I, one of the greatest queens in history, had hygiene habits that are absolutely unbelievable? A royal image of grandeur, a symbol of power and elegance. But behind that exterior lies terrifying hygiene secrets that might make you reconsider the image of a queen. When we think of Elizabeth, we often think of her great victories, her intelligence, and her ability to lead England through a challenging period. She ruled for 45 years at the helm of a nation that rose to become a world power. The paintings and artwork depicting her always celebrate the beauty, strength, and authority of a great leader. But have you ever wondered behind the makeup and lavish outfits if Elizabeth I was really the perfect model we often think she was? So behind the royal gowns, behind the sparkling crowns, Elizabeth I's self-care was something entirely different. Most of us imagine that monarchs in history were always meticulously cared for when it came to hygiene and health. But Queen Elizabeth went completely against what we expect. Her bizarre and shocking hygiene habits became an inseparable part of royal life that few knew about. She didn't bathe regularly, didn't use facial washes like we do today, and some of her hygiene habits might have even contributed to the destruction of the image she tried so hard to maintain. Was Elizabeth I too busy with political strategies and conflicts to care about personal health? Or was there something deeper behind her intentional avoidance of what we consider necessary for a healthy life? Every action hides a purpose, and that is exactly what we're about to uncover in this video. So what were these strange hygiene habits? Why did the Queen allow her health to be severely compromised just to maintain the image she had built over decades of rule? Let's dive in to discover 5 terrifying hygiene habits of Queen Elizabeth I that you've never heard of. 1. Perfume fear and the illusion of clean. One of the strangest yet most effective secrets in Queen Elizabeth II's strategy for maintaining power was her use of perfumes and fragrant items to mask body odor. Throughout her reign, Elizabeth created a flawless image, never allowing any weakness to show, whether it was in terms of health or personal hygiene. Her image had to always remain perfect, untouchable, and perfume played an essential role in that strategy. In fact, personal hygiene during Elizabeth's time was not a priority. Regular bathing was not part of her routine, which inevitably led to a problem body odor. Instead of allowing her natural body scent to emerge, Elizabeth used perfume to create a fragrant layer that kept her image clean and perfect in the eyes of everyone. Physicians and court artisans crafted unique perfumes for her, including those made from lavender roses and rare herbs. These fragrances not only helped mask body odor, but also became symbols of prosperity and power. Elizabeth I didn't just use perfumes to hide body odor. She also employed fragrant items like perfume-soaked gloves, embroidered handkerchiefs, and luxurious accessories. These scented gloves were not just fashionable items, but also symbols of the Queen's opulence and power. They helped keep her body clean in the eyes of others, though in reality, this cleanliness was merely a part of her strategy to maintain a powerful image. She also used small decorative items like pomanders, spherical containers filled with herbs and fragrances, which she carried with her at all times. Each time she passed through a crowd, Elizabeth I would simply lift the pomander to her nose and gently inhale, instantly dispelling any unpleasant body odor. These actions were not only ways of maintaining hygiene, but also part of her strategy to create an untouchable queen, an image that would never fade. This strategy not only helped Elizabeth maintain a flawless image, but also reinforced her power and the respect people had for her. In a society where cleanliness, bathing, and hygiene symbolized power, the Queen understood that maintaining a body that was never exposed, always fragrant and luxurious, was her way of asserting herself. What do you think about using perfume and fragrant items to preserve one's image and power? Could this be a smart strategy or just an illusion? Share your thoughts in the comments below this video. 2. A mouthful of decay. Queen Elizabeth I's passion for sweets is one of the lesser-known aspects of her life. Throughout her reign, she was a devotee of sugary treats, from delicate pastries to fruit jams and marzipan. For Elizabeth, sugar was not just a food, but a symbol of wealth and power. At that time, sugar was a luxury item that only the upper classes could afford, and Queen Elizabeth spared no expense on sweet indulgences. However, what few people know is that her craving for sweets had serious consequences for her oral health. In Elizabeth's time, dental care was nothing like it is today. There were no modern toothpaste or brushes. Elizabeth used a special toothpaste concocted by the royal court's physicians made from sugar and herbs. However, instead of protecting her teeth, this mixture became the main cause of her dental decay. The combination of sugar and abrasive substances caused her teeth to wear down and rot at a rapid pace. This not only harmed her teeth, but also affected her overall health. By the late 1590s, when ambassadors and officials visited the palace, many noticed the Queen's decaying teeth. Her teeth gradually turned black, and some even fell out completely. Her breath became so foul that those around her had to keep their distance. Some even reported that it was sometimes difficult to understand what she was saying because she had lost so many teeth, and her breath was so bad. What is remarkable, however, is that Elizabeth I didn't seem to care much about these issues. Although doctors advised her to get treatment and have her decayed teeth removed, the Queen stubbornly refused. In fact, some records show that she even allowed a court official to perform a tooth extraction right in front of her, just to prove that it wasn't too dangerous. These decisions reflect Elizabeth's character. She always prioritized image and power over everything, even her own health. A powerful queen capable of controlling an empire could not control the eating habits she believed were harmless. It was her love for sweets and indifference to dental health that led to consequences no one could have predicted. Have you ever thought that eating habits, even something as ordinary as a sweet tooth, could cause such serious health issues? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 3. Cleanliness without water. One of the strange truths about Queen Elizabeth I is her very different personal hygiene habits compared to what we might imagine for a powerful ruler. Elizabeth I avoided frequent bathing, sometimes only bathing once a month, and occasionally this was considered unnecessary. So why did such a powerful queen have such an odd habit? To understand this, we need to look back to the 16th century, when personal hygiene beliefs were very different from today. In Elizabeth's time, bathing was not as highly regarded as it is now. People believed that bathing too much could disturb the balance of the humors in the body, causing illness. Additionally, water back then was not clean, and exposure to it could bring potential dangers of infection. Bathing too frequently was also seen as lax and unbecoming of a queen, as it might expose her body, something Elizabeth I absolutely did not want to happen. Elizabeth I not only avoided bathing, but also implemented several alternative habits to keep herself clean, or at least maintain her perfect image in front of others. One of the methods she used was changing her undergarments, especially linen shifts, frequently even multiple times a day. These garments were believed to absorb dirt and keep the body clean without the need for bathing. While these undergarments couldn't truly clean the body, they were a way for Elizabeth to avoid discomfort without damaging her image. Additionally, Elizabeth I used a range of herbal concoctions to replace bathing. Court physicians would prepare mixtures of vinegar, lavender, and rare herbs, which would be sprayed onto her body. These concoctions not only refreshed her, but also helped mask body odor, keeping her fragrant and fresh despite not bathing. In her time, avoiding bathing was actually quite normal. Queen Elizabeth I lived in a society where image and power were closely tied to immutability. Bathing was considered a lax act and could expose the real body, something a powerful person like her could not allow to happen. Her body was not only hers, but also a symbol of power and immortality in the eyes of the entire kingdom. So did avoiding bathing actually affect Elizabeth's health? Was maintaining a perfect image really so important that she had to sacrifice basic hygiene? Perhaps in her society, the cost of maintaining power and image was immense. But for Elizabeth I, it was a sacrifice she was willing to make. What do you think about avoiding bathing to maintain a perfect image? Is it worth sacrificing health for image and power? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 4. The makeup mask. When we think of Queen Elizabeth, first, the image of a powerful, elegant, and proud woman always comes to mind. However, behind that magnificent beauty was a unique and extremely dangerous makeup regime that Elizabeth I followed throughout her life. She placed great importance on her image, and because of this, Elizabeth chose to use highly toxic cosmetics to maintain the flawless appearance she desired. One of the most commonly used cosmetics she applied was lead-based white powder. At that time, fair, smooth skin was a symbol of nobility and power. Elizabeth understood that to maintain the image of an immortal queen, she needed flawless skin, and the lead-based powder was the product that helped her achieve this. However, these powders not only helped her maintain her beauty, but also contained harmful substances, especially lead, which could cause severe damage. The lead-based powder brightened her skin, but it also harmed it, making her skin increasingly fragile and susceptible to damage. Furthermore, Elizabeth used other cosmetics to enhance her beauty, including bright red lipstick made from cinnabar, a compound that contains mercury. Mercury, a highly toxic substance, was absorbed into the body through the makeup and could cause poisoning. Therefore, using this lipstick not only gave her bright red lips, but also affected her health in a very dangerous way. The long-term harm of these beauty habits is undeniable. After using lead-based powder and mercury-laden lipstick for an extended period, Elizabeth's skin gradually became weak and vulnerable. Sores and ulcers began to appear on her face, making it difficult for her to touch her face without worrying about causing harm. By the end of her life, the Queen's face had become so fragile that artists dared not paint her in natural light, fearing the makeup would crack and reveal signs of aging. Some records even show that Elizabeth requested that artists paint her according to a specific model to avoid exposing any imperfections on her face. Maintaining a perfect image became more important than anything else, to the point that her own health and safety were overlooked. During Elizabeth I's time, image was power. She understood that without maintaining a flawless image, she would not be able to retain her power. Every time she appeared before the public, she was not just the Queen of England, but also a symbol of power, immortality, and invulnerability. Do you think using toxic cosmetics to maintain an image is worth it? Can we accept sacrificing our health for beauty? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 5. A palace without plumbing. Despite living in grand palaces adorned with luxurious clothing, Queen Elizabeth I had to face a shocking truth: her palaces did not have modern plumbing systems. The royal palaces, no matter how magnificent, lacked the basic amenities that we now consider standard in daily life. This created an interesting contrast, where a powerful queen lived in conditions that were far from comfortable and lacked infrastructure, something few people know about. The sanitation conditions in royal palaces were completely outdated compared to modern standards. Elizabeth's palaces, such as Hampton Court and Richmond Palace, lacked running water systems, lacked running water sewage facilities, did not have sewage facilities like we have today. There were no showers or modern toilets. Instead, there was an ancient and very inadequate sanitation system. The royals had to use chamber pots, personal toilet pots, to relieve themselves. These pots were placed under the chairs or beds of the royals, and had to be emptied daily by high-ranking officials basic facilities within the regular servants. It wasn't just waste disposal that was an issue, lack of basic facilities within the royal also made cleaning the palace. It wasn't just waste disposal. Servants and lower-ranking officials had to carry out gong made cleaning the palace, collecting waste from the chamber pots. Servants and lower-ranking officials had to carry out gong them outside the palace, collecting waste from the chamber pots. They had to work in the dark through narrow hallways, hauling heavy buckets of waste to dispose of them outside the courtyards. Dumping them into the palace, they had to work in the dark. These pits not only created a foul through corridors, but were also breeding grounds for bacteria leading to pollution and serious health issues. These pits not only created a powerful queen, but were also breeding grounds for bacteria leading to pollution and serious health issues. Her palaces, although decorated with gold during this period, such waste management the basic considered normal. Even lower although Elizabeth in modern society was a powerful queen, the living conditions in Elizabeth was not always the luxury we severely lacking in infrastructure. Her palaces, although decorated with gold and luxurious as well as that of those who lived in the palace, that even
Despite the
lower
colorful
classes
paintings
in
and lavish
modern
royal
society
banquets
might have. The reality of life in the palace
The living
was
conditions
very different.
in Elizabeth I's
There was no
palaces
clean water system,
were still
no
severely
toilets,
lacking in
and the surrounding
infrastructure,
environment
and
had
this
to endure
affected her
pollution
daily life
and foul smells,
as well as that of
something
those who
only
lived in the
those in the
palace.
court could truly experience.
The stench from the
The
cesspits
sacrifice to maintain
and
the
the
perfect
inconvenience
image
of cleaning
the
made
price
life
in those
Queen
grand
Elizabeth
castles
I
far
is a symbol
less
of
pleasant.
power and immortality.
This created a fascinating
but the price she had
contrast
to pay
with the
to
image of
maintain that
power
image
and
was
luxury,
not small.
often associated
Elizabeth, one
with
of the
royalty.
greatest leaders in English history,
Despite the colorful
had to
paintings
sacrifice
and
her
lavish
own
royal
health
banquets
to protect her
the
flawless
reality of
appearance,
life in the palace
which she
was very
considered
different.
most important.
There was
One
no
of the
clean
biggest
water
sacrifices
system,
Elizabeth
no
I
toilets,
endured,
and the
was
surrounding
using harmful
environment had to
cosmetics.
endure pollution and
To
foul
maintain her
smells,
pearly white skin,
something only
she
those
used
in the court
lead-based
could
face
truly
powder.
experience.
The lead-based
The
powder helped
sacrifice
her
to
maintain her perfect
beauty
beauty,
image,
but it harmed her skin
the
over
price of
time,
it.
making it
Queen
thin
Elizabeth
and vulnerable.
I is a
In
symbol
addition,
of power
other
and
cosmetics
immortality.
like cinnabar-based
But the price she
lipstick
had to
mercury
pay to maintain
also
that
provided
image was not
immediate beauty
small,
effects, but
Elizabeth,
caused long-term
one of the greatest
poisoning.
leaders in
Not
English
only did
history,
she use toxic
had to
cosmetics,
sacrifice her
but
own
Elizabeth
health
I
to protect
also
her
chose to
flawless
refuse
appearance,
normal hygiene
something she
practices.
considered the most
She avoided
important
bathing,
factor
believing that
in
bathing would
maintaining her
expose
power.
her body, which she
From
wanted to keep
toxic
perfect
beauty habits
and
to
unchanged.
refusing to bathe,
Her concern
all
about
of it
exposing
shows
her
the
body
extent to
led
which
her
the queen was
alternative
willing to
methods,
sacrifice herself
such as continuously
to preserve
changing her
image.
undergarments.
One of the
and
biggest
using herbal
sacrifices
concoctions
Elizabeth
to
I
create a
endured
pleasant fragrance.
was using harmful
Beauty and
cosmetics.
image were of utmost
To
importance
maintain her
to
pearly
Elizabeth.
white skin, she
First,
used lead-based
but the price
face
of
powder,
maintaining
a
that
product
image
gradually
was
made her
enormous.
skin
Her
thin
health
and
gradually
vulnerable.
deteriorated. The
These
lead-based
habits
powder
not only
helped her
affected her
maintain
physical
her perfect
health,
beauty,
but could
it
also
harmed
have
her skin
impacted
her
over
mental
time.
state.
She also
In
had
addition,
to live in
other
loneliness
cosmetics
and
like
harshness,
cinnabar-based
constantly
lipstick
maintaining
mercury
a perfect image.
also
What is
provided
the price
immediate
of
beauty
greatness
effects
and power?
but caused
Is
long-term
power and the
poisoning.
perfection of one's image
Elizabeth
worth
used these
sacrificing
products throughout her
personal
life,
health?
despite the
These
obvious
questions
harm
are not
to her
just
health.
for Elizabeth I.
Not only did she use
but also
toxic
serve
cosmetics,
as a reminder
but Elizabeth
for all of us
I also
about what we
chose
are
to
willing to
refuse normal
sacrifice
hygiene
to maintain
practices
power
that we
and
consider
our image
essential
in the eyes of others.
She avoided
Do you think
bathing,
sacrificing
believing that
your
bathing
health to
would
maintain
expose
image
her
and
body,
power is worth
which
it?
she wanted to keep perfect.
Is it valuable
and
to
unchanged.
sacrifice so much for appearances?
Her concern
Share your
about
thoughts
exposing
in the
her
comments
body
below
led her
and
to
join the
alternative
discussion with
methods,
us.
such as continuously changing her undergarments and using herbal concoctions to create a pleasant fragrance, keeping her body clean without needing to bathe. Although these methods didn't actually help with hygiene, they were ways for Elizabeth to maintain her image as an immortal queen, never revealing any signs of weakness or aging. Beauty and image were of utmost importance to Elizabeth, but the price of maintaining that image was enormous. Her health gradually deteriorated. Sores and damage to her skin became more apparent, but she continued to use toxic cosmetics and refused to care for her body in the normal way. These habits not only affected her physical health, but could also have impacted her mental state. Some historians suggest that Elizabeth's psychological issues in her later years may have been related to the long-term consequences of the toxic products she used throughout her life. She also had to live in loneliness and harshness, constantly maintaining a perfect image regardless of her health and emotional well-being. These decisions are a testament to a queen who could never afford to weaken her image, even at the cost of her health and personal freedom. What is the price of greatness and power? Is power and the perfection of one's image worth sacrificing personal health? These questions are not just for Elizabeth I, but also serve as a reminder for all of us about what we are willing to sacrifice to maintain power and our image in the eyes of others. Do you think sacrificing your health to maintain image and power is worth it? Is it valuable to sacrifice so much for appearances? Share your thoughts in the comments below and join the discussion with us.